Coming up tonight, teachers say it is difficult to cover the 2020-2021 school syllabus with the challenges of COVID-19. They are, however, experimenting with homework alternatives. A dry and cold wind with dusty particles that threaten health is blowing across the Adamawa region. Health officials are calling for caution. And civil society groups in BAMENDA call on the population to stop listening to propaganda by protagonists of secession if they want peace to be brought back to their region. The details right now. Thanks for watching the 7:30 news on CRTV. I am Moki Edwin Kinzeka in Yaoundé.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Some teachers in the country say the modification of the school calendar due to COVID-19 has made it challenging for them to cover the 2020-2021 syllabus. The tendency for many teachers is to rush over notes and meet deadlines, whether or not the children understand the lessons. We have details with Yoti Kaleli Songe.
A peculiar 2020-2021 school year, yet with the same syllabus to cover, in a context where the workload for some teachers has increased due to the two-shift system. Rushing over notes could be an option to complete the assigned tasks, especially since they have to be done with the curricula by June 25. But the teachers say they are professionals and have opted for teaching methods wherein their pupils assimilate the lessons.
We are trying to go at the pace at which the pupils will understand. We teach, we do remediation. We will struggle and finish with the program.
The social media is also used by some teachers to facilitate their work.
We have to create forums, and our parents gave us phones that way. So before we come to class, our teacher will forward the notes in the forum for us to copy. And when he will come the next time in class, he will explain it to us.
Meanwhile, the instructors depend on parents to follow up their kids at home.
Nowadays, I realize that most of the parents seem to abandon their pupils in the hands of the teachers, which cannot really go.
That notwithstanding, government has taken measures to ensure that programs are covered and on time.
We have all e-learning which help us to not have any problem with our school year during the pandemic.
A challenging school year per se, but teachers reassure that it is not at the expense of their students.
Take-home assignments for pupils in the elementary sector remain one of the ways to fully engage learners. It enables both teachers and learners to cover the workload while providing ample time for slow learners to catch up. Gerard Nanje Yambe sampled the opinion of teachers and parents and reports that homework is an important part of pedagogy.
Regular classroom teaching, according to pedagogues, is not enough to cover the workload. Pupils are therefore subjected to take-home assignments.
It must be a topic that you have taught, you have evaluated the children in class, then you give homework as a secondary part of it to see if the children at home, they can reproduce what the teacher has already taught.
We create WhatsApp groups for each class where you give a homework on the board, they copy in their exercise books. We snap the homework and we send it back to their various parents. The parents then verify the homework to make sure that the child copied it well.
Parents and guardian counselors have a crucial role to play if such efforts must be attained.
With the WhatsApp group, when I come back from work, I see the assignment the teacher has sent.
I don't find the homework given to my kids enormous because the shift system has permitted most of them to have enough time to do their assignments.
This pedagogical approach is a plus, especially to slow learners.
It's positive, especially in class 1. Like class 1, they had their project. And when the parents saw it, they did not believe that children can do farming. It is marvelous.
We make sure that the children should read, because you know that when children at this level, they can't read, they won't answer anything.
Whatever the case, homework remains an integral part of pedagogy.
Some primary school teachers in Baham and Batty, Upper Plateau Division of the West Region, have ended a 5-day training in ICTs. The exercise, initiated by the Bafoussam branch of the African Institute of Computer Sciences, intends to make all teachers computer literate in the nearest future. Ngu Henry.
Participants at the workshop were teachers drawn from primary schools in the Baham and the Batty subdivisions of the Upper Plateau. For 5 days, they were drilled on the communication technologies.
It's something that we have been waiting, but they used to say that God time is the best, because we have learned much here since Monday. And if we went back to our classes, we are now obliged to try and have at least one laptop that will be also training our children.
The initiative was that of the Bafoussam branch of the African Institute of Computer Sciences. The inspectors of basic education for Baham and the Batty have enjoined the teachers to use the knowledge acquired and promote the teaching of ICTs in their respective schools.
The International Labour Organization and its partners in the Southwest region has trained officials of small and medium-sized enterprises on practical measures to upgrade local industries. The intention of the 10-day training is to make the enterprises more competitive. Tanjong Levis Abo reports.
The project, which was destined for the southwest and northwest regions of the country, was to upgrade the standards of local enterprises. The Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Promotion Agency, in partnership with the International Labour Organization, aims to set standards for SMEs that are competitive in the global market using local-based business development tools.
We have equipped trainers to be able to train entrepreneurs, potential entrepreneurs in generate your business idea. So they are able to train entrepreneurs to help them generate a very relevant business idea.
By an international expert trainer of the ILO in partnership with us, who can go to the field, go right down to the councils with the dispensations of decentralization and make sure that the SMEs that are all around the communities can benefit for an upgrading program.
To some of the trainees, after the 10-day training program, they are taking up the challenge to improve businesses and projects.
Entrepreneurs come to our office and come with a lot of ideas, expecting us to show them the right one.
It is hoped that this training program will develop business goal strategies to upgrade local-based enterprises.
Inhabitants of the Adamawa region have been advised to put on warm dresses, wear their face mask, and regularly drink clean water to protect themselves from some seasonal diseases. Within the past 2 weeks, a harsh weather condition marked by dry and cold winds loaded with dusty particles has been blowing across the region. Ellis Wajibanmia has the rest of that story.
Difficult times for inhabitants of Ngaoundéré as they complain of an unprecedented harsh weather condition that has imposed itself across the region.
We are currently witnessing the harmattan, dry and cold winds loaded with dusty particles. This dust is coming from the Sahara, blowing rapidly towards the Sudano-Sahelian area, notably the Adamawa region.
This has led to a deterioration in air quality and made viewing from a distance very difficult.
Due to the loaded particles, drivers can have difficulties viewing from a distance, and this can lead to accidents on our roads.
Experts confirm the impact won't be limited to the transport sector, as low temperatures and dry air will promote the development of respiratory diseases.
When we get out in the morning, we should be protected against cold. We should wear the clothes which can cover all the body, we can cover our thorax to protect it against the effect of the sun on the skin. We should also wear our facial mask.
Medical experts also recommend the regular drinking of potable water in order to limit risks of shocks and related diseases.
Executive members of the North Regional Branch of the Association of Scientific Journalists and Communicators for the Promotion of Health in the country has been commissioned. Their main mission is to provide vital information on health-related issues for the welfare of the population. We have details with Vanessa Wundang Sakmu in Garua.
Despite numerous efforts, many still die of certain pathologies in the north, and this is mostly due to ignorance. A preoccupying situation which the pioneer executive of the North Regional Branch of the Association of Scientific Journalists and Communicators for the Promotion of Health in Cameroon, AJC Pro Santé, made up of 8 members, hopes to tackle by duly providing useful information to the population among other challenges.
We are going to sensitize and educate the population towards a positive change of habits in our region so as to save lives.
The installation ceremony that was chaired in Garwa by the Inspector General at the North Governor's Office, Simon Sombe, was an occasion to encourage the new executive of the 2-year-old association to be instrumental in improving scientific health communication in the region.
We are calling on the pioneer members of the Executive Bureau of the Regional Bureau of this association to make it as a role model in clarifying any scientific concept that has been a problem for a common man.
The overall objective is to improve access to healthcare services and boost the region's health system.
You're watching the 7:30 News on CRTV. Thank you. Human error is the main source of road accidents in Cameroon, and the National Gendarmerie Road Safety Task Force says it is determined to make life difficult for delinquent users. This was the main mission all the different teams set out to achieve in the various axes this weekend. Kilian Dandifon followed the task force on the Yaoundé-Betua stretch and brought back this report.
Midday Saturday, February 20, on the Yaoundé-Abongbang-Betua National Road number 10, the National Gendarmerie Road Safety Task Force registered in 1.5 days 40 highway offenses, mostly linked to human behavior, not car documents. We are here since yesterday, and the most recurrent offenses are disrespect of speed limit, overused tires, and failure to put on seat belts. Yaoundé-Abongbang-Betua axis, which opens to Chad and the Central African Republic, witnesses high traffic of heavy-duty vehicles that orchestrate many accidents. Measures have been taken here for all the heavy-duty vehicles to be controlled. The National Gendarmerie Third Generation Monitor, Control and Punish Dynamic Road Safety Team is bent on making traffic flow uncomfortable for all delinquent road users.
People in the Northwest region have been requested to stop complicity with protagonists of the ongoing socio-political crisis if they want a return to peace in that part of the country. This is the substance of an enlarged forum in BAMENDA involving all the major stakeholders in the crisis. Eric Langmea-Wufo reports that reflections also centered on reducing the burden of the conflict.
They are seeking ways to protect the population who have been victims of acts of kidnappings, demand for ransom, killings and arson attacks on market and private structures during the ongoing socio-political crisis. Officials of the Community Initiative for Sustainable Development are concerned with the safety of the people.
I was in Commission Avenue one day when they started firing. Immediately the first gunshot came out, everybody disappeared. I find myself in a strange land alone, nobody to help me. On reaching around Metakwata, the gun was coming behind and in front. I was confused. As I struggled to run, nobody to help me, I tumbled in the gutter.
For them to reduce the impact of the crisis, they must be able to defeat fear.
They must be able to shun complicity with conflicting parties. They must be able to be civilly responsible.
They have requested defense and security forces to protect the population and also respect rules of engagement. In the meantime, they have also appealed to separatist fighters to stop torturing and targeting the innocent population.
The Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services has launched a program to support government's inclusive education policy in the Northwest region. The program entails the provision of quality mainstream education to all children living with disabilities in the country. We have details with Ola Titanki in BAMENDA.
These people make up the group named Community of Practice, the project that seeks to improve the quality of education delivered to the disabled in the Northwest and the rest of Cameroon. They have noticed that the current system of education is not sensitive to the needs of learners with disabilities.
Teachers' capacities are not fully built for inclusive education. The curriculum for education in Cameroon is very rigid, very exam-oriented. For learners with vision disability in particular, there are no textbooks in Braille, there are no audiobooks.
This community of practice will enable us to work together, to share knowledge, to share experiences, and that will enable us to ensure quality, inclusive education.
The long-term goal of this project is to produce documented evidence on the best inclusive education practices, which policymakers can use to make adjustments with regard to stepping up the quality of teaching for disabled learners.
Some 40 elders and deacons of the Église Presbyterian Camerounaise BMRC Emmanuel Parish in the nation's capital Yaoundé have been called upon to serve and not to be served. Reverend Dr. Tongo Jean-Marie made the call today during the consecration of the church leaders who underwent a 3-year training. Gerard Nanji Eyambe has the rest of that story.
Haven't acquired the required pedigree for 3 years in the domain of spirituality and church management, these elders and deacons are ready to dispense their assigned duties. While performing the consecration ritual, the preacher, drawing inspiration from 1 Peter chapter 5 verses 1 to 4, admonished the newly ordained to serve God with devotion.
To suffer with Christ. The Christ gave his life to save us. They have to lead the people in the true way.
Considered as an honor and a challenge, the consecrated church leaders are poised to match words to action.
So to win souls for God. We have learned many things, like how to settle matters between parish owners, like how to bring peace to families.
The ceremony, a blend of color and symbolism, witnessed the award of certificate of recognition to them, as if to say their mission has just begun.
Renovation works on the St. Anne and Jacky Cathedral in Bolova have greatly advanced, and the century-old structure temporarily opened for worshippers as a prelude to an occasion to raise funds to complete the refurbish the edifice. The Bishop of Bolova, Monsignor Alain Philippe Mbarga, has extended a clarion call to donors. We have details with Clarence Aze.
Christians of the Bolova Diocese have already made great strides in the renovation process of the St. Anne and Joachim Cathedral, initiated by Bishop Philippe Alain Mbarga in 2020. The giant house of worship, constructed in 1933, was already a shadow of itself. Thanks to the collective efforts of the Christians, the roof and ceiling have been replaced. Focus now is on the walls and floor, a project globally estimated at 500 million CFA francs. The bishop has planned a great Thanksgiving Mass scheduled to take place on Saturday, February 27, so that funds can be raised to push the works further.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Health officials in the littoral region have redoubled efforts to control the spread of the coronavirus. The number of persons tested positive for COVID-19 increased sharply after the African Nations Championship hosted in Douala. For updates of the pandemic in the littoral region, let's join Baldwin Sama at the Public Health Emergency Center here in Yaoundé. Baldwin Sama, over to you.
Good evening to you, Moki. Edwin Kinzeka. It remains one of those regions that has always been highly affected as far as the spread of COVID-19 is concerned. Ever since we had the first confirmed case of this virus in Cameroon last year, the littoral region of Cameroon, and lately we have had over 400 new cases of persons tested positive for COVID-19 in the littoral region of Cameroon, leaving us with a total number of 9,458 persons tested positive for COVID-19 in that region ever since we had the outbreak of the coronavirus. And the death rate stands so far at 1.3% in the littoral region. With the new recoveries, many other persons have recovered from COVID-19, 401 new cases of recoveries as far as the virus is concerned, leaving us with a total number of 8,770 Cameroonians who have recovered from COVID-19 in the littoral region of Cameroon, with a recovery rate, an impressive recovery rate that stands at 92.7%, with health professionals in the littoral region of Cameroon who continued with different sensitization campaigns, especially after the African Nations Championship, to continue reminding the population of the littoral region as to the need to respect these barrier measures so as to be able to reduce the rate of, or to reduce the rate at which the coronavirus can be spread in that part of the country. Back to you, Moki Edwin Kinzeka.
Thanks, Baldwin Sama. Ndok Mesu, a village in Yingui subdivision of the littoral region, now has a new chief. His Majesty Jacky Mbung was enthroned over the weekend in the presence of his people and administrative authorities who advised him to be law-abiding. Bitmea Atang Tabara reports from Douala.
After 28 years of living without a traditional ruler, the people of Yingui are now happy to have a new chief, His Majesty Jacky Mbuni. His enthronement ceremony was chaired by the divisional officer of Yingui, Eyombo Mbongo, in the presence of other traditional rulers who were present to pour out their blessings on the new chief. His Majesty Jacky Mbuni is a third-class chief of Ndok Mesu in Yingui village. He has promised the population he will make Ndok Mesu and Yingui a place to be.
Our principal struggle is that to bring development in our village, because our young people are all in the town, Douala, Yaoundé, and we have to bring them back to tell them that we have to back in the village to build our village.
He was born on the 24th of February 1967 in Douala. He takes over from Chief Masang, who died in 1987.
Screening has started for potential recruits into Cameroon's Rapid Intervention Battalion, the B. More than 1,400 candidates in the East region are competing for the 220 places available at the Elite Corps training grounds around the country this year. Gwanmisa Valentine reports from Betua.
The task of selecting the best at the later 2nd Rapid Intervention Battalion headquarters begins in making sure that the candidates are properly identified. They are then given wristbands and forwarded for a battery of physical examinations. First, their auditory and visual acuity is put to the test, after which they receive papers to proceed to have their blood pressure measurements documented. At the venue of this crucial stage, a few of them could be found lying resting on the ground following the counsel of the medical personnel. The potential recruits must now undergo a thorough physical examinations where they are visually scrutinized from head to toe. It is only after a successful completion of this examination that candidates will be permitted to participate in a 20-kilometer trek carrying along a 20-kilometer load. The 2nd Rapid Intervention Battalion in Leta, under the command of Colonel Mve Alexandre, has tightened its training program to permit only the best to make it to this latest force.
The commander of the 5th Joint Military Region says sports play a very vital role in ensuring the physical fitness of defense staff defending Cameroon's territorial integrity in the northwest region of the country. Brigadier General Cathedral made the statement during activities marking the International Day of Military Sports. From Bamenda, Kilo Valerie Sala tells us more.
The field of the headquarters of the 5th Joint Military Region in Bamenda hosts the final of a football tournament, a major feature of the International Day of Military Sport. 2 teams, one from the 6th Military Sector, another from the 50th Firefighting Unit, are separated by a second half, an only goal that offers victory to the Firefighting Unit, which perceives the win as a motivation for a united military front to restore normalcy in the restive northwest region.
Defend the national territory, but because we are all together, whether you are a firefighter from the BFS, Army, or the Air Forces, we are all together to defend our territory.
The football tournament, organized by the commander of the 6th Military Sector, Colonel Chwakam Andre, and supervised by the commander of the 5th Joint Military Region, Brigadier General Cavalere, was part of sporting activities to mark the International Day of Military Sport observed yearly on February 18.
And that ends the 7:30 news on CRTV. Join Lucrece Mebenga in exactly 32 minutes for the news in the French language. And tomorrow, you'll be in the company of Gladys Tata at 7:30 for the news in the English language, and Evelyn Owona-Isomba at 8:30 for the news in the French language. I am Moki Edwin Kinzaka in Yaoundé. Thank you for watching.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.